Hi, I'm Joel Cribb. I'm an IDS major and a special education paraeducator, and I'm here to talk to you about one of my hyperfixations. I've always appreciated Kurt Vonnegut's method of using humor not to just entertain, but to kind of illuminate the absurdities and injustices in our world. And similarly, I also kind of just find myself reflexively turning to humor and absurdity when life gets complicated as a way to help make sense of things that really don't make sense of at all. Something I've been doing a lot lately. Anyway, that perspective is what inspired much of this research paper. I looked closely at Vonnegut's most prescient works, in my opinion, which include Cat's Cradle, Player Piano, To Be or Not to Be, Hocus Pocus. I mean, there were many, many others for me to pull from, but these are the ones that just kind of fit. So I use these to analyze how he uses satire and absurdity to kind of point out the tendency of giant systems like governments, corporations, scientific communities, even uh, kind of how they can end up caring way more about like the control and efficacy of what they're trying to do and the end that they're trying to get to, rather than the people that they're using to reach those ends. All right, so for example, there's Cat's Cradle. It has this fake religion called Bokononism, and it's like a lot of religions. People are using it to just kind of make sense of things, get through the day, get through their life. But what it does is that it's on its face an admitted religion just based on lies. But that doesn't change that it's kind of widely adhered to in this book. So it's interesting, kind of stuck with me. Kind of made me think how sometimes people will just really pick something and make that their whole thing just in the pursuit of uh, having some viewpoint from which to interact with the world. I think everybody kind of does that. Um, so through my research of all this, I was kind of looking for a philosophical basis and whatnot, or something like that, and found the thoughts of Mikhail Bakhtin, who had ideas about humor's ability to shake up the social order, and Theodore Adorno, who he had warnings about those systems of control and efficiency. He kind of said that they can very efficiently suck the humanity right out of us, that kind of leaving us as useful empty vessels to whatever end that they've prescribed. And I feel like Vonnegut's work just fits perfectly right there in between those two guys. He's playing for laughs, but he's also asking folks to kind of, start looking at some serious stuff. So I also looked at Player Piano, which is kind of I don't know, I wouldn't say near future, but not too distant future. And machines are kind of running everything, and people have either ceased to have to run or lost their ability to run. Not physically, but, purpose wise, socially, economically, all that kind of thing. The main character, Paul, he's one of the top echelon because he's taking care of the machines that are in charge. So naturally the machines are like, good boy, you're in charge. But he's not into it. It's a disconnecting job for him. He's not really an engineer at this point. He's just a guy pushing buttons. Um, and it stinks to him that this is what the extent of his worth is. It's kind of a familiar note for me. Technology has kind of gained the ability to make us feel like we're being programmed by these machines to interact with them in specific ways, which almost uniformly alter our behavior as individuals. And there's To Be or Not to Be, which was a story I was less familiar with, but familiar with the subject matter, I suppose. To this story, the world has a one in, one out policy. One person gets born, one person's got to die, and they kind of put it on a volunteer basis, make it a point, like a matter of pride. I'm serving my country or my society by volunteering my life. And the main character in this one is about to have triplets. So, yeah, he has to figure out, how he's going to navigate that kind of idea or whether these kids are going to be born. Um, it's dark stuff, but the dark humor kind of serves to drive home a point. Um, so when people are reduced to statistics, those important, messier bits that you can't really quantify, um, like morality, emotions, and individual stories, when people are reduced to statistics, they lose that. And therefore, we kind of lose all individuality and things plateau and then decline, right? To my estimation. Anyway, Cat's Cradle is kind of it thinks about some of the same things. It's got this chemical, this engineered thing called Ice Nine, which is made by a doctor who wanted to, or a doctorate, a mad scientist who wanted to um, basically solve the problem of mud for the military, because a big problem with a lot of military conflicts, World War II, Vietnam, big problem was mud. So, it's advertised by certain characters as having the ability to get rid of an entire swamp. Which, you get rid of something like that. It's an important ecosystem that serves a lot of purposes, and they're just like, oh yeah, we could just get rid of one just like that. Which it kind of speaks to the thoughtlessness and the tendency of folks to just kind of think, oh, there's a solution. Let's just use the solution. Don't think any further than that. Just make it work. Um, Kind of has notes of the East Palestine thing that happened. They were just going forward doing business as usual, because if they stopped to fix things that needed to be fixed, business as usual couldn't go on as usual, and that kind of just making it work hurt a lot of people. Um, Also, familiar notes Agent Orange, to where they were trying to think of a solution to a problem, and they figured, oh, how about we just get rid of all this foliage? Cool. We found something that works. Let's just use it everywhere on top of people. Let's have people spraying it by hand, you know? And so they made troop movement easier, but it also killed a lot of our own soldiers demonstrably, including some folks in my family. Um, and all this stuff, the fictional, the true stuff, all that's just proof that reckless progress is always expensive. Matter of money, matter of human life, it's always expensive. Um, Hocus Pocus, it's one of the other ones I was looking at. Main character's guy that starts as a professor at a college. Um, he becomes a warden at a at that college after it's turned into a prison, and then he becomes a prisoner of that college prison. It's and the whole point of all of these things existing, the prison's there for the prisoners, and that school was there for the inept offspring of a bunch of rich people, just to kind of keep them all in one place and keep them contained and away from their own ability to influence. So they were both systems that were simultaneously controlling and profiting off of the people within them in different ways. uh, which is very, very relevant today with all the debates around privatized prisons and underfunded schools leading a push towards private schooling and everything like that. Um, no, so all of this, looking at the themes of Kurt Vonnegut's stuff, it led me to look at a lot of more recent actual real life events. One that I looked at but didn't incorporate, at least not yet, is an event where Jackson, Mississippi, basically set up an unelected court system. Just here you go, you have this. And was that court system representative of their majority black population in Jackson? Absolutely not. So it's just power grabs like this that take away, the community's agency. They echo Vonnegut's warnings about, larger systems and opaque bureaucracies, and the way that they can take agency and democracy from the people that you're supposed to be serving and helping implement that democracy. So basically, all this stuff is just questioning the systems that we live in and with, particularly the ones that are regulatory, that are looking for profit or trying to streamline things, uh, and prioritizing those things above basic human dignity. Um, he's not just here for the laughs. He's helping us see and think clearly and critically about the world that is still becoming more and more like the things he wrote. Well, thank y'all for listening. I hope I gave you guys enough sense of why I wrote this and of Vonnegut's use of humor and critique and why it matters today. Anyway,